Hi, y'all. It's your old friend Zeke back here again, and we have a lot to talk about today. Matter of fact, this might not only be a two-part, it might be a three-part. We're talking about Texas. Ever hear about Texas? Well, I know last time I told you we were going to talk about manifest destiny. So let me just run past that real fast, and we're going to get right into Texas, okay? Manifest destiny, it was an idea, it was a thought that this here country, the United States of America, would be able to own all the land in between Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. It's a good thought. It's a real good thought to do. But there's people living there. Besides all the different Indian nations and tribes that are living on them lands, there's Spanish there, and now they're Mexican because they had that their revolution, right? 1821, the Mexicans took over. They took over. So they own a lot of land out there. How are we going to get it? Well, that's going to be coming up because we are going to be talking about that too. All right, but let's go back before the revolution actually happened. It was going from 1810 to 1821, but let's go around to 1820. 1820. So here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about this place we call Texas. It wasn't always part of the United States. You know that. It wasn't at all. All right. Texas at that time included a handful of Americans, just a handful, not very many, and 4,000 of these Tianos. Now, Tianos, let me tell you what Tianos means, okay? Tianos is a Tiano is a Spanish word for Texan. Spanish word for Texan. I know that don't mean a lot to you right now, but they're the Hispanic residents of the state of Texas who culturally descended from the original Spanish settlers. The original Spanish settlers. Remember Cortez? Remember Pizarro? Remember those guys, those conquistadors? They're the original ones that came there. Okay? They mixed with the Indians, Mayans, the Incas, the Aztecs, and they became Mexicans. Now, there's a lot of diversity there, so I'm not going to go into a genealogical cultural explanation here, okay? But Mexicans basically are Spanish and Indian descent and many other descents now. But these Tianos were some Indians that were originally had Spanish descent also. They're just Tianos, so they're basically Mexicans, is what they are. Okay. Now, they are from a lot of Mexican states, northern Mexican states. Okay, so northern Mexico states, and even into what we call America today. So they were more northern Tianos. Okay. Now there's about 4,000 of them. There was also Native Americans, a lot of them, like the Comanches. They are some tough people right there. They are some tough people, and they were all up in Texas. And they didn't like nobody on their land. It don't even matter if you were another Indian tribe. They don't want you there. They don't want you there. It's their place. Get out, they say. So you got to contend with them. Um, Also, like I said, the Apache. The Apache were there, but not on Comanche lands. Oh no, they don't like each other, folks. They don't like each other. Two different kinds of people. Two different kinds of people. Now, Spanish officials at this time in 1820, they were Mexicans yet. There were no Mexicans. Spanish officials believed that they might lose Texas unless they bring more settlers into the territory. Where are they going to get settlers from? The good old U.S. of A. Oh well, there's going to be a lot to pay for that. And I'm not just talking money. Okay. First of all, let's go to the very root word of Texas. Texas means ally or friend in Native American language. Ally or friend. All right. Now here's the plan. Plan is in the early 1800s, the Spanish government offered land grants. Land grants, that means they offered land at really, you're not paying for it. It's a grant, but you got to give something back to people that would agree to bring settlers to Texas. There's the catch. We're going to give you the land, but you got to bring the people here, you know, to Texas, and you got to settle here. Well, that don't seem too bad. Well, there's a little bit more to it than just that. All right. These people that would be recruiters that would bring the settlers were called empresarios. Empresarios. Okay, they were recruiters. Um, we saw this in the beginnings of the colonial time in America when they brought people over and they were offering land to people along the Hudson River. Remember that? And they were giving them land. The more people you brought, the more land they were going to give you. Well, that's exactly what they're doing here. The more people you bring, the more land they're going to give you. And that's a good thing. If you're an impresario, it is. Sure is. Now, Moses Austin, remember that name, Moses Austin. He convinced the Spanish government to give him land along the Brazos River in 1821 in exchange to bring 300 settlers, 300 now, to Texas. Guess what? They said, that's a good deal. We'll do that. Remember the year, 1821. Well, Moses Austin died before he could do that. That's a shame. So the whole deal go down the drain? No, it didn't go down the drain because his son, Stephen Austin, Stephen Austin picked up the torch and he says, you know what? I'm going to bring those 300 people. But now he's not dealing with the Spanish government. No, no, no. He is dealing with the Mexican government because the revolution has been won and Spain has lost all those colonies in South America and what we call Mexico. So now you're dealing with the Mexican government. Yes, you are. Mexican government. So in 1821, he's going to establish the settlement along the Brazos River and the Colorado River. It's good growing land. What can you grow there? Wherever there's water, you can grow something, especially cotton. You can grow cotton there. And you know, people, they pay a lot of money for that kind of stuff right there. All right. At the same time, when Mexico won its independence from Spain, Austin added more land to his settlement. He added a little bit more than his pappy Moses did. So he's going to try to get a better deal. Now, the Mexican government said, all right, we'll give you that deal, but you're going to have to play our game this time. And our game means you're going to have to go by our rules. And that's what he's going to have to do. Or I had to get me some iced tea. It is hot out here. And you can see I'm back in my natural habitat here. Um, Everything seems to be quiet today. Anyway, let's go back to Stephen Austin. Now, the Mexican government said, we'll let you have that land. You bring the 300 settlers, but here's the rules. And they had three rules to follow. Count them. One, two, three. Okay? First of all, them people come here, they got to become a citizen of Mexico. Okay. That's not, well, you're leaving the United States, so you're going to become a citizen. If you're going to be living there, then you got to be a citizen of Mexico. All right? Second is you got to obey Mexican laws. Well, of course, if you're a citizen of any country, you got to obey their laws. What about the citizens of the good old US of A? Do they got to obey laws? Yes, they do. They have to obey laws. Some of the things I hear going on out there right now, there's some people not obeying the laws. But you have to obey the laws. So if you're in Mexico, you obey the laws. Okay, that's rule number two. What about number three? You have to become a Roman Catholic. A what? Well, is that so bad? Not really. Not really. You see, the Catholic Church is entrenched in South America and Mexico. We call Central America or Mexico, okay? That's the religion they want to be dominant, and that's okay. Well, what if I'm a Protestant? Is that much different than a Catholic? Not a whole lot of difference. You know, you believe pretty much the same things. What if you're Jewish? Now you got a little bit of a problem. What if you belong to no religion at all? Can you become a Roman Catholic? You can become about anything that you want to if you want that land bad enough, can't you? So I'm not saying they all did it. Maybe behind closed doors they decided, I'm a Catholic outside that door, but inside here, I'm whatever I want to be. It could happen. It can definitely happen. All right, well, that don't sound too bad. I think they could probably get by with that. But guess what? Stephen Austin's going to have a few of his plans and a few of his rules of his own. So listen here. Here's what Stephen Austin did. He's going to bring the 300 settlers. All right, they are going to be called the Old 300. Remember that. They're called the Old 300. Well, I'm sure more than 300 wanted to come. He very much handpicked these people. He handpicked them because he's got three rules of his own to follow. So listen here to these rules. See if y'all can follow these rules, and maybe some of you be out already. First of all, no drinking of any alcohol. No alcohol, folks. Any of you out, raise your hand. No alcohol. Iced tea. Iced tea you can drink. And it is good. Second thing is, now get ready. No lying. No lying. Anybody out? No? Nobody's out yet? So nobody drinking and nobody lying. Okay, here's the third rule. What could the third most important thing be? No foul language. No cussing. No swearing. You're not allowed to talk bad like that. How many of you out? No? None of you out yet? If you can get all three of those rules and still not be out, you could be one of the old 300. Now, why would he want those particular rules? Listen here. He's trying to set up a community here, okay? He's trying to set up the best community that he can. And so he is following what he feels would be the best values and morals for community to have. You got children coming here. You've got women coming here, not all old roughnecks. You've got people that need to learn from the examples being set. You understand? Are you an example to be set? Or are you somebody just, maybe we shouldn't set the example on you? No drinking, no lying, and no cussing. That's some pretty good things to handle right there. So, between 1821 and 1831, that's 10 years, Austin had brought 5,665 people into that new colony. That is a lot of people now. Every time he came, he got more land. Every time he came, he got more land. Eventually, he becomes known as the father of Texas. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of Austin, Texas? That's where it comes from. Stephen Austin. I guess we ought to give the Pappy Moses a little bit of praise too, because he had the idea first. But from Stephen Austin came Austin, Texas. How about that? So now you just learned something. And thousands of Americans now start to move into Texas without following any of the laws. Wait a second now. Stephen Austin bringing them in? No, they're not. They're coming in on their own. I mean, they can just go over the border and just start living there? Yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did. Okay? They did not follow any of the Mexican laws. They wanted to keep their own ways and they wanted to keep their own religion. So they weren't following Austin's laws neither. What kind of people were these? People that just wanted to move there, that's all. That's all. And they don't want nobody telling them what to do. Nobody. Not the Mexican government, not Austin's government. Nobody. Were they still Americans? Well, they never took the citizenship of Mexico. So they were illegals. They were illegals moving in there. Wow. Imagine that. Illegals moving into a place called Texas that's run by Mexican government. What do you think Mexican government should do? That's a puzzle, isn't it? I finished my tea. Putting it right down there so I know where it's at. colonists on the Brazos, okay, were using slaves. They were using slaves. These people come over, they were using slaves for their cotton plantations. And in 1829, Mexican law prohibited slavery. You weren't allowed to have slaves. No, you weren't allowed to have slaves. So these people were coming over, not with Austin, just coming over the border. They were getting land, they were growing crops and growing cotton, and they were using slave labor, and they were making a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, the Mexican government did not allow slavery, but, what talks, folks? What talks? They did allow them to have slaves temporarily. Wonder how that works. Money talks. All right? Slave owners were worried that the government might take away that human property. So I'm sure there was some kind of arrangement made. Probably was. Americans now also step a little bit further and they want to say so in the Mexican government. They're not even citizens there. They did not grant that. Now, isn't it amazing that this here country of America has illegal citizens here? They're not citizens, they're illegal. They're illegal people. And they want to say so in our government too. Difference is, some states allow them to have a say so and to even vote. What part of illegal don't you understand? It's illegal. So, shoes on the other foot this time. You have Americans down there, and they're illegal, and they're not following the laws, and now they're wanting to say so in their government. That's bold, folks. That's really bold. Okay? Well, what came to fear was there. By 1830, the 30,000 recent settlers in Texas who were really English speaking people from the United States, okay, outnumbered the Hispanics 5 to 1. 5 to 1. All right, so we have the Americans are outnumbering the Hispanic Chanos that are in Texas. 1830, now listen here, 1830, Mexican government is banning, they are stopping any more immigration from the United States into Texas. Wow. They're stopping immigration. How do you do that? Well, they have a plan. Yes, they do. They're going to start building 5 new forts. They are constructing 5 forts along the border to stop people from coming over here. They didn't build a fence, and they didn't build a wall because they didn't have the material to do it. So if you came over, they just shot you. That's all. Should they put you in prison? No. The deal was you come here, you're going to die. Okay? So no more immigration in here. They were tough. They were real tough. They saw the problem and they tried to fix it. Problem was they had foreigners coming over trying to run their country. They don't like that. They're not following their laws. They're trying to be part of their country only by taking over. That's all. So they constructed 5 forts to enforce the laws. Imagine that. What if we do that today? What if we do that? I don't think that'd go over too well. Now we got this wall down there. We got a big fence like a wall that people don't even like that. You got to stop people from doing illegal things. Because what they do is once they get it in your country, before you know it, they'll be running your country. Okay? That's another whole story right there. But let's see what else the Mexicans are going to do here. Now, in 1833, so they constructed these forts. In 1833, Stephen Austin, travels to Mexico City. Now, what's he going to do there? Mexico City is quite a long ways from where he's at. He's got a petition with reforms or demands on it by the Tianos and the Anglos. Now, who are Anglos? The whites. The white men are the Anglos. Okay, Anglo-Saxons is what they're trying to say. But we're not Mexican, we're not Indian, we're whites. Europeans, what they are. Okay. Now, the Tianos and the Americans, they have reforms, they have demands. They want the Mexican government to do something about it. Well, he waits for months, not days, not weeks, months to present this to General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. He's the new head of the Mexican government. The new head of the Mexican government. Now, here's a little bit of tidbit right here. Anytime you have a leader of a country and they're always wearing a uniform, there should be a red flag that goes up automatic. They got to be wearing a uniform with lots of medals on it that they did not earn. Something's wrong there. And we even have it here in this century. Same kinds of things. Anybody's got to wear a uniform and has to run a country. There's something wrong there. Yes, there is. And it's been proven all through this time. So we have General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna is the new head of the Mexican government. So what took so long? Why y'all waiting so long? Well, here's why. I got a lot of paperwork here, so I'm shuffling things around here. Santa Anna insisted that Texas remain part of Mexico. You know that's not going to go over too well. We came all this way, and we want you to do something about our reforms and our demands, and you say Texas is going to remain part of Mexico. What do you think he was going to say? Well, you can just have it? No. So if people come into California, should we say, oh, well, you can just have it? It's okay, take it. No, that's part of America. You understand where I'm coming from here? Austin instead does this. He sends a letter out. He sends a letter out urging Texans, all the way back to Texas, urging Texans to go forward with independence. Independence, that means revolution. That means revolution like we had in 1776. Is that what you really want? You want to fight over it? It's not yours to begin with. But now you want to fight over it? Mexican government was gracious enough to give you land, Mr. Austin, if you brought settlers here, and now they're telling you just live in peace. Follow the rules, live in peace. Well, apparently they changed their mind. And now they want to fight the Mexican government. That is going to take a lot of work. They are pretty powerful. And does the Texans or Tianos mix together? Do they have enough people to come against the Mexican government? Austin finds out that that letter never makes it home. No, it doesn't. It is intercepted. It is intercepted, and a letter is brought back to Santa Anna. Once it gets in his hands and he reads it, it is not a pretty sight. Now, you remember a long time ago we had that man named Benedict Arnold, and he sent a letter out to the British, and the messenger got captured, and the letter was brought back to General George Washington. Same kind of thing. So here it is. They got a letter in Stephen Austin's handwriting. They throw him in jail. Yes, they do. Would you like to be in a Mexican jail? No, 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 no. Not even today. Not today, even. No. He is there for 8 months. 8 months, folks. 8 months in a Mexican jail. Santa Anna has suspended now, during this time, the Mexican Constitution and assumes his new role as a dictator. As a dictator. So let's look at the prospects here. They did have a constitution that they followed, and now he suspends it, he erases it, and he becomes a dictator. Imagine if that would happen in this here country today. Don't we have a constitution? It was ratified in 1791. We follow that constitution. It is the rock that our government sits on. Everything is based on that constitution. What if somebody got in power and totally ripped it up and threw it away? Start over again. And they become a dictator or an emperor or even a king. Don't laugh. It could still happen. It could still happen. There are people right now that want to destroy this Constitution. They've actually called for a second constitutional convention. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it has not happened. It has not happened. That was probably about 8, 9 years ago, maybe before. They called for a second constitutional convention. That would be tragic. Once that constitution that we have right now is gone, your country is gone. It is gone. You understand? We cannot let that happen. But Mexico, at this time, it did happen. Now, I am going to stop right here because I told you there's going to be at least 3 parts. I'm going to have to stop right here. And I want to tell you what I always do tell you. Be kind to somebody today. Those people that you love, tell them that you love them. All right? Don't let time slip past. You tell those people that you love them right now because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, do you? We don't even know what's going to happen today. So, this is Old Zeke, and I'll see you for part 2. Don't forget, y'all, you come back. You hear me? All right. Bye.